Hey everybody, welcome. This is Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Today is June 15th, 2016. Beautiful day here in Los Angeles, so I hope and believe that wherever you are right now today, you're making it a great day. There's a lot coming up this week, of course, and I want to talk about Father's Day. But before I do that, I want to say this. From our show, The Dr. Levi Show, our heartfelt condolences go out to the tragedy of Orlando, the massacre there. It was just unbelievable. So our show, we send you our thoughts, we send you our prayers, knowing that the victims and their families will be just have some solace. It's just unbelievable that things like this still happen in America. So I'm hoping that we as a country can come together and do what we can to restrict guns in the inappropriate hands, because of course the guns are not inherently bad. It's the people who wield them, the ones who do the tragic issues like this guy did. Just unfathomable. So it's just a horrible event. I can't say any more about it because it's such an emotional event that someone can just do such destruction to people. It's just unbelievable. So there's no more I can say about it. Just horrific. So our condolences go out to the families there. I want to say here in Los Angeles, it's beautiful. Very hot. The valley is very warm today, and here in Hollywood it's pretty warm too. But it's going to be hotter soon because we got some great guests today that are gonna heat it up in here because they're all about service. They're all about excellence. And fortunately for myself, I had the great opportunity to work with them this past summer at the Special Olympics. I should say last year at the International Special Olympics, which was really a phenomenal event. And they were all about service and about giving back and keeping everybody on their toes. It was really just a phenomenal event. And today our guests are on because we're talking about Father's Day, and I thought it could be not more appropriate really to have on these three guests. They're physicians who give back to their community, and they're a part of the Chino Valley Medical Center group, and they work with the incomparable Dr. James Lally. I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Lally because he actually gave me my chair here on the show, on the radio show, was a donation by him. So again, thank you, Dr. Lally. You rock, young man. And we're grateful today to have his physicians here, his fellows. He trains them in sports medicine and family practice. And he's a guy, Dr. Lally is a man about change and about advocacy and about making a difference and really about excellence when it comes to medicine. So I really appreciate him as what I call a mentor by proxy, because if you're around him, you just want to be better. If you're around Dr. Lally, you want to give more. You want to be more. You want to strive to be better. You want to be even more ethical, more honest, more integrated into who you really are. So again, Dr. Lally, thank you so much for allowing your physicians to come and share some time with us today, along with your beautiful daughter, Caitlin. Dr. Lally's daughter, Caitlin, who is an extraordinary woman, brilliant, intelligent, hardworking, spectacular. She's our intern, and she just makes the show just phenomenal. Without her, I could not even see doing the show. She just brings a whole breath of fresh air and joy and happiness. So, Caitlin, we want to thank you very much from the show. We appreciate you being a part of this community. And, of course, to my producer, Janet Rodriguez, the best of the best. She is the West Covina diva. Thank you very much. And, of course, to Jarvis, our player. We're thankful that he's a part of it, too, as our engineer. So, I'm really grateful that we have all these wonderful people as part of the show. And, of course, our owner here, Tony Sweet. So, enough talk about anything else. Let's talk about our guests. Our guests today, the following: Dr. Torres, Dr. Gonzalez, and Dr. Crouch. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Levi.
Well, so happy to have you all, guys. So let's talk about this. All of you are in medicine. So I want to know from each of you, what drove you to want to be a part of the medical community? Let's start with you, Dr. Crouch.
For me, it was a change of careers.
Yes.
I married my high school sweetheart at a young age.
That's Christine?
Yes, Christine.
Yes.
So we just celebrated our 21st anniversary last week. So,
oh, fantastic. Yes.
So I worked at the local newspaper in the small town that I grew up in.
You worked in the press.
Yes, I was a printer. Printed the newspaper every day for the daily newspaper.
Yes.
And my wife and I, happy with with the life that we had, the children we had.
Yes.
as a father, I decided, while I'm good at what I do, I think I could provide a better life.
Yes.
And I thought the medicine might be a way to do that. So,
Yes.
I had no formal education at that time. I started taking night classes at the community college and transferred to the University of Nevada, Reno, and kind of started on that trajectory and would tell people, oh, I'm going to be a doctor someday.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
from where I started to where I am now, it's been a long road, but a lot of people thought I was a little crazy for taking on that.
But you
that
kept
venture.
pushing.
Yeah, kept going.
What about your wife? Was she very supporting and loving during
Absolutely.
this time?
At the time that I decided to do that, she was a stay-at-home mom with our kids.
Yes.
And she had the foresight to realize that when I was getting ready to do training, how are we going to make ends meet with a family of 6?
Yes.
On a resident salary.
Right.
So while I was going through medical school, she went through nursing school. And so she's currently working as a nurse
That's
in the
fantastic.
emergency room. So we kind of did it together. We
Yes.
supported each other. And she, much smarter than I am, she could have been anything she wanted.
Right.
And she chose nursing. And she's one of the best nurses out there.
That's
So,
fantastic. It's great to hear a story of love and, more importantly, about cooperation, saying that, hey, I want to do this. Your wife is supportive, and then you do it, but not only do it, but you do it together. That's a love story alone, not just your high school sweetheart, but just doing that and making it come to pass. Just phenomenal. And then you have your kids. You have Jared and Ava and Emma and Allison. Exactly right. You said, I know Jared, from what I read, he's on a mission right now.
That's correct.
2-year mission.
So for the LDS Church, he's serving his 2-year Mormon mission in the great state of Mississippi.
Yes.
Down in the Bible Belt. So
Yes.
out trying to convert the people. And to be honest, there's a lot of great Christian people there. So the conversions aren't really happening, but he's got this phenomenal opportunity to serve people. And he's just grown to love the people of Mississippi.
Absolutely.
So, really proud of him.
Well, we're proud that you're here today with us, so thank you. And Dr. Torres, let's
Yeah.
hear about you, the guy from Colorado Springs.
My father was an Air Force Academy graduate, so he
Yes.
flew for the first 8 years or so. I was around. We moved around a fair bit, and then we kind of settled in Colorado Springs.
Yes.
He actually ended up getting out of the military and actually going to medical school when I was about 7, 8 years old.
Your dad went to
My
medical
dad
school.
did.
That's
So I got to
fantastic.
see it from that perspective. I was old enough to kind of see what was going on.
Yes.
And honestly, I didn't like it. It just seemed like something way too involved.
A lot of work.
So I was interested in becoming an engineer
Yes.
for the longest time, all through high school. And then I got to college and took the first year of engineering courses and then just realized I absolutely hated it.
Yes.
And then kind of had that existential, like, what do I do now?
What do I
type
do?
moment.
Right.
So I ended up going into biochemistry. And then I had to take a couple weird social sciences courses. I went to this engineering school. We didn't really have a good liberal arts program there.
Yes.
And one of them was basically you do some kind of volunteer work, and then you have to do papers on what you're doing
Yes.
and like keep a journal. So I ended up volunteering at a local hospital, and then just kind of seeing it more from that angle. And
And what was that like when you first got to a hospital? It's one thing to talk about a
Yeah.
hospital, but when you're in there and you're there and you smell it and you see it and you're a part of it, because it's not what people see on TV.
Oh, yeah, not at all,
It's a whole
no.
different ballgame.
And I wasn't doing a whole lot. I was more helping with the linens type stuff,
Right.
cleaning things. If people needed stuff, I'd go get it for them, warm blankets, whatever.
Yes.
But the doctors there were kind enough to, if something cool was going on and I expressed interest, they'd kind of pull me into the room.
That's great.
Got me into trouble once. I saw a couple procedures that I wasn't quite ready for and got
Right.
kind of queasy in the room the first time.
Right.
But just being there and kind of seeing everyone just wanted to help people, especially some of the underserved people in the community we're
Yes.
at, kind of started rolling the idea around like, hey, this isn't so bad when you're actually in it. The training up to that point's kind of rough, but
Yes, it is.
actually doing the work seemed pretty rewarding. So after that, I kind of made it more feasible. It's something I actually wanted to do.
So a true focus of your life.
Yeah.
Now, what about your mom and dad? What do they think about it? You'd be the second generation of physicians in your family. How did that go?
They were fine with it. My dad also did do a little bit of trying to not talk me out of it, but just make sure that it was something that I wanted to do, not
Right.
something I felt, it's
Obligated
a family
to do.
obligation thing. But once it was kind of clear that it's what I actually wanted to do, they were completely supportive about it.
That's
So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, what's on the horizon for you next? I know you're engaged right now. You're planning a wedding.
Yeah, actually in a couple weeks in July 16th, we're getting married
That's a
back
big
in
deal.
Colorado. So
That's a big
yeah.
deal.
And then trying to feel out some job opportunities right now.
Right.
There's always a possibility to do something crazy and go international for like a year or so. Which
Why
is
not?
Yeah. No real attachment to keep me here. I don't have any kids or anything.
Absolutely.
So we're kind of keeping it open. for
I
right now.
say dream big. You know, why not? And then we have the great Dr. Gonzalez here, who is, his mentor, the mentor of all three of these gentlemen, is Dr. James Lally. And we often refer to Dr. Gonzalez as the little Lally here. So Dr. Gonzalez, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's hear about your life. Let's hear about where you're from and how do you get into medicine?
Well, it's kind of funny. I actually grew up mostly in Phoenix, but I lived out here from 5 years old to 10 years old.
Yes.
And during that time is when I found my calling.
Right.
I was like any other little boy. I was all about superheroes.
Right.
Batman's my favorite,
Yes.
Superman, all of them. And, I was going to grow up and be a superhero.
Of course, because you are.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
One day out of the blue, I got really sick and family couldn't figure it out. And what I just kept describing was an elephant on my chest, and that was the only thing I could describe it.
Yes.
And just kept getting sicker and sicker. We took to my family physician, couldn't figure it out. Just got so bad that my mom just rushed me to the hospital. They took one look at me and they're like, hey, this kid's not supposed to be blue. So they came in, did x-rays. They were trying to figure out everything. They were going to rush me to, more specialized hospital.
Right.
And just happened to be in the area a pediatric pulmonologist, and I wish I knew his name today because he pretty much changed everything. I was scared, 8 years old, hooking me up to heart monitors. Didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody knew what was going on. That's all I knew was nobody knew what was going on.
That's frightening as a child. That's frightening.
Absolutely. This guy came in, and to my recollection, he could have been wearing a cape.
Yes.
He came in, basically took one look at me, looked me in the eye and said, everything's going to be okay.
Right.
And it turned out it was just a very bad asthma attack.
Yes.
Nobody else knew that, but he just came in, took charge, and I was like, that guy's a real superhero.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be that guy someday.
Absolutely.
So from that day forth, 8 years old and on, I wanted to be a doctor, and nothing was going to stop me.
That's fantastic.
So I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, went to high school out there, went to Arizona State.
You have brothers and sisters?
I have 2 older sisters.
Are they in medicine?
Nope, I am actually a first-generation college grad.
Really?
Yep.
Fantastic.
I have both my sisters out here. One of them lives in Orange County with a beautiful family, and the other one actually lives here in L.A. She actually has her own podcast as well.
Oh, fantastic.
So shout out to Donna Gonzalez and Matt Therapy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And she's very big into actually the mixed martial arts scene.
Oh, fantastic. We'll have to have her on the show.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely have her on the show. Wow.
So we share that bond together.
Yes.
All through college, I actually did mixed martial arts, but never lost the sight of I'm going to be a doctor someday.
Right. That was a focus.
Absolutely.
Now, and what about your parents now? When you graduated, what was that joy experienced in your family? Because you were first-generation graduate. Not only just a graduate, but a physician.
It's something that you're never going to forget the look on your parents' face.
Right.
The look of pride on my parents' face. Of course, both of them couldn't see me because their eyes were filled with tears.
Yes, yes.
My mom to this day still has to introduce me as her son, the doctor.
Right. Well, it's great. And what about your wife now? You have your wife and your baby Max. I hear you have another baby on the way.
Yes, sir. So I actually met my wife as a fourth-year medical student at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center.
Did you really?
Yep. I thought she didn't like me because this was the mean nurse that didn't talk to me the whole time throughout my rotation.
Right.
And it just turns out she also thought I was cute, so she
Really?
gave me her number on my last day there, and it all just took off from there. So we got married.
That's
and
fantastic.
we have the man-child Maximus Stone. He's 16 months old.
Is he really?
He's he's the sunshine of my life. It doesn't matter what happens, how mad I am, how angry, how bad things going. I'll walk in the house and he just gives me one of his faces, or he starts speaking in what we call Maxinese, and his favorite word is blah, 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 blah.
Is it really? That's enough.
How do you say
You
mad
can't.
at that?
You can't.
All it takes is one kiss from him, one
And it's
cuddle
over.
from him. Daddy's done.
I think that's great, man. What about your baby? You have another baby on the way now.
We have another baby on the way. We have another little boy on the way. The challenge we're having is how do we compete with a name like Maximus Stone?
Absolutely.
We can't just call him John Smith.
No, you cannot.
Got to think of another strong name like
Absolutely.
Maximus.
That sounds like a superhero there, actually.
It
Max
is.
Stone, that really does.
He's either going to be a rock star or superhero. It doesn't matter. I mean,
Exactly.
can't just be a nobody with Maximus Stone.
No. That's a powerful name. Now, what do you do when you don't do medicine, Dr. Gonzalez? What is the things that you enjoy outside of the career?
Outside of the career, I think my problem is I enjoy life too much that I can't just pick one thing.
Yes.
Mountain biking,
Great.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, soccer, even just hanging out with friends, drinking craft beer. I got to say, I'm a big beer freak.
Oh, that's okay. That's
But,
okay.
you
But
know,
enjoying
just
life.
anything. My wife and I, we share the love of Disney, so anytime that we can go with her and Max to Disneyland's always a great
do it.
adventure.
I got to tell you something interesting. You know, I've never been there.
Really?
I've never been to Disneyland. I can't tell you how many of my friends, I've been invited to about 5 or 6 parties there, and one bachelor party that I didn't go to that I heard was like absolutely crazy. And I just have not had the chance to go. So I got to put that on my,
You
my
gotta
list.
go.
I got to go. I hear it's like it makes any man a little boy. I'm a little boy anyway, so.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It's Disneyland.
Really, huh?
That place is magical.
Wow, dude, I have to do that. What about yourself, Dr. Torres? When you're not at the hospital and you're not with your beautiful fiance, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, Colorado, we pretty much it was just guaranteed, especially through high school. You were just outside, and then that just kind of just continued to carry over. Used to do a lot of rock climbing. Don't do that so much anymore. But actually rode and mountain bikes throughout college, so I still very active mountain biking as much as I possibly can.
Yes.
My bike's pretty much just perpetually in my truck and all my stuff, so if I get a chance, I'll just try to shoot to a close trail and go ride.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Man.
anything I can do outside, and then craft beer stuff, I'll go with this guy to
Oh,
some
really?
local breweries
So
too.
both craft beer aficionados.
Yeah, I actually kind of drug him into the mountain biking thing. too,
Really?
so,
It's true.
yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, what about you, Dr. Oh, we know what you like to do, Dr. Crouch. You have 4 kids.
Yeah,
So,
they keep me
Well,
busy,
yeah, it keeps you busy, man. We know what you're doing. You take care of kids.
I forgot what I like to do.
Of
so.
course, man. What is that like, though, having 4 kids at home when you go there? Because that, in my mind, even though you have one son that's away now, you have all these beautiful women there, plus your wife, your 3 kids, and your wife, and then you.
It's been an adjustment, to be honest. I
I'm
realized
sure.
that my son was kind of my escape from all that estrogen.
Yeah.
And so now that
I didn't say it now, you did.
I did.
Okay.
So now it's taking the girls to the mall and being that dad that
Yes.
is more the chauffeur and cheerleader. So for my girls, so it has the last little bit has been an adjustment. It used to be where the girls were going to go shopping or go do their stuff, and I just look at my son like, all right, let's get out of here. And we go do something else.
But now it's you.
Now it's just me, and I don't have that excuse anymore. So it's.
It has to be adjustment.
But as a dad, I couldn't be more happy and more proud of my children, and to be able to go home and just feel happiness.
Yes.
I mean, you can't ask for a bigger blessing than that. So.
'Cause it is a blessing. I mean, when you go home and you look at your dog, you say you can look at Allison, look at Emma, look at Ava, and think, "Wow, those are my kids."
Yeah. And our kids are getting older, like you said. Jared's now out of the house. Our girls are getting bigger. And you realize that your time with your children really is finite.
Yes, it is.
As far as being that parent where you're the one trying to essentially train little adults.
Right.
So you're trying to have people be good members of society,
Right.
and it's your job to train them to do so when you look at
Exactly.
it that way. And you only have a short period of time to do it, where Dr. Gonzalez has got little Maximus, and
Right.
I think back when he was talking about walking in and hearing Max babbling and was it Maxinese?
Maxinese.
Maxinese, yeah,
It's like,
sure,
I
sure,
remember those days too, and it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
And now those days are gone.
Absolutely.
And you really have to treasure. And it just goes by so
Yeah,
fast.
because think about it. I mean, you know, your son Jared, he's 19. So
Yeah.
you got to think 19 years ago, he was speaking Jaredese. And
right.
now that's over.
Yeah.
You know, he's speaking, he's a young man.
And there were days where I would thought, man, I wish he was just a little bit bigger so we could throw a ball or
Right,
interact a little more.
Right.
And then you realize, like, whoa, put the brakes on this train. It's going too fast.
Right. And then it's
So,
over.
Yeah.
Just
I
fantastic.
quite often think that, like, oh, I can't wait till we can kick the soccer ball, play
Right.
football together. And at the same time, it's like, no, wait, that means he's getting older.
Exactly right.
No, I don't
Right,
want that.
right. And then you're getting older. Both. Well, what has it been like for all of you, especially I hear from you, Dr. Torres, being at Chino Valley Medical Center under the great guidance of Dr. James Lally? What has that experience meant to you?
It's been probably some of the best opportunities I've ever gotten.
Yes.
Some of the best training. I don't think I would have been able to get anywhere else. We've gotten great opportunities like doing the World Games, the Special Olympics.
That's a big
that was
deal.
something I don't think I would have gotten anywhere else. And It was great, and I learned a lot from it. And it's just been interesting to see how much he's involved with the local community and likes to give back.
Yes.
And we are kind of sometimes his front people that go out and take care of a lot of that.
Yes.
So being a part of that is really, really fun, actually, to be perfectly honest, and pretty rewarding. So I've been loving it.
And the great thing about that is, being having the mentorship of someone, Dr. James Lally, reminds you about how important it is to be an advocate in the community.
Yeah.
Not simply see things, but to be proactive and to do things and be a part of the doing community versus the look and see community.
Yeah.
He's about action. He really is. We had Dr. Lally on the show, and I was just so impressed by his ease of being involved. He's not like trying to get involved. He is involved.
Mm-hmm.
He's a part of his community. They know him, and he's active about it, and he's active in a very unapologetic way, which I really love about him. He's like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. If you like it or not, that's okay. But I'm going to help these people. I'm going to help those who don't have a voice. I'm going to stand up for those who've been dismissed by the community, who have been thought of as being less than. And it's clear with Dr. Lally that everybody's important and that everyone should be treated with respect and compassion.
Absolutely.
What has it been like for you, Dr. Gonzalez, to have Dr. Lally as a mentor?
It's been honestly, a gift.
Yes.
It really has. Hey, everybody calls me Little Lolly. Pretty much he's chosen me as his protege to kind of learn from him, kind of take over
Yes.
when he decides that he's had enough.
Yes.
It's been a huge responsibility. It's been something that I never even thought I wanted.
Yes.
And now that he's shown me this world of, like you said, being involved in the community, wanting to help everybody, doing, whether it's in just volunteering work with the local community sports
Right.
or helping local charities or the police or fire departments, it's like, wow, I do want to do that.
Absolutely.
He's kind of shown me the path that I didn't think was the way I wanted to
Right.
go.
He showed you this path that you didn't even think was accessible.
Exactly.
But now you know it is accessible, and you make the path,
And at times it's very scary,
of course.
but I see myself wanting to do what he does, wanting
Absolutely.
to be exactly like him.
Yes. One thing about Dr. Lally that's quite clear to me in meeting him and working with him in Special Olympics, I think one word that for me epitomized him, there's several, but one above all, I think, is that he is truly fearless.
Mm-hmm.
He really is. He has there's no facade about anything. With him, what you see is exactly what you get. He's a great man, hardworking, dedicated, about service, about love, about truth, about helping his family, but really about community involvement. He's about that.
Like it or love it or hate it, he's going to help you guys no matter
you.
what.
Exactly right. The great thing about Dr. Lally is he will help you without a thank you from you. He's not doing it for a thank you. He's doing it because it's the right thing to do. Because
Absolutely.
his heart has been touched, so he's thinking, how can I give back? Not how can I give back, and then what can you give me? He's not like I do this for you, then you do that. That's not him. Not
Nope.
at all.
He's doing it just because
Just
that's the right
because.
thing to do, and he wants to.
Exactly. What do you think of the best lessons you've learned from Dr. Lally, Dr. Crouch?
I remember hearing a different physician tell me that when you look into training, there's so much information out there.
Yes, there is.
I'm sure you know in your office when patients come to you, they're more informed than they've ever been before because of internet and just
Absolutely.
Google search, whatever.
Yes.
And you can have patients come in and they're a better expert on this particular topic than you.
Absolutely.
But they're coming for you for wisdom.
Yes.
And you're the one that's going to help them make decisions. And so your role as a physician is become a decision maker. Make
Yes.
those hard decisions. And I
Yes.
think that is probably the best lesson that I've learned from Dr. Lally is, like you said, he's fearless.
Yes,
and
he
he's
is.
he's not afraid to make those decisions. And so I think he's instilled that in us where, as physicians, we are called upon to make difficult decisions frequently.
Absolutely.
And based on our knowledge coupled with our experience, we have that wisdom to help our patients make that good decision. So I think that's probably the best lesson I've had. Is I can't say there's been this one experience or this one lesson, but the whole experience has been an opportunity to help be that decision maker for like you said, and an advocate for my
Absolutely.
patients.
Absolutely.
He always says no good deed goes unpunished. But the other thing is doesn't mean you don't do the good deed.
Absolutely.
You take your
Absolutely.
punishment and you keep
And
doing
you keep doing it. Dr. Lally is really about compassion, about excellence, about education, advocacy, activism, and community involvement. And above all, he truly is a fearless physician. Fearless. And like I said, just being around the times I have, I'm reminded to dream bigger, to do more, to love more, to have greater compassion, and to be less judgmental, to be more about inclusivity. He is truly about that. He really has been. Now, what would you say has been the most difficult thing about your training at Chino Valley Medical Center?
For Chino Valley, it's the real world. We are a private community hospital,
Yes.
so we don't get the umbrella protection sometimes some of the bigger academic centers are.
Yes.
So if we make a mistake, it's known. That's a
Absolutely.
mistake.
Yes.
Someone's going to come after you for it.
Yes.
It could potentially harm the hospital, harm the patient, and it's your fault.
Absolutely.
So you kind of learn to take the responsibility right at bat.
Right.
You don't rely on the university to protect you. You don't rely on anything else except, one, your mentor, Dr. Lally,
Absolutely.
and yourself.
Right.
So that was kind of a big change for me. I came from a different program. I actually came from a county surgery program.
Yes.
Decided I wanted a different lifestyle, so I came to family medicine.
Right.
And so that change between a large hospital and a small community hospital where all eyes are on you,
All eyes.
that was part of the most difficult thing that I think I had to come to grips with.
Right. That is a challenge. But I think that's one of those challenges. Once you overcome it, you just keep going forward. And of course, with Dr. Lally, there is no turning back. It's forward or bust. You're going to do it.
And after a few years, you learn that, yeah, you're right. All does come to you. And instead of being afraid of all eyes on you, you actually want all eyes on you. You're like, look,
this is what I
pay
did.
attention to me because that's what I'm going to do.
Exactly right. And what about for yourself, Dr. Torres? When you look at the evolution of yourself as a physician, what do you think your true strengths are now that you've had 3 years with Dr. Lally? Do you think it's organization of your schedule? Do you think it's just being able to multitask better? What are the major things that you've learned from him that you will put into practice as you continue to evolve as a physician?
I think probably more just the decision-making process. The intern year is pretty intensive, and like Dr. Gonzalez was saying, we're the only program there. We're pretty much the big physician group in the hospital, so everything's kind of coming onto you.
Absolutely.
And you don't really have time after a while to sit there and really kind of just think about certain things and go back and forth like, should I? You kind of just got to pick a decision and start
Do it.
rolling with it.
Yes.
So I think that definitely helped me personally, because I think beforehand I was probably more one of those just sit on it for a while and just kind of go back and forth on it. But definitely just kind of having it drilled into you, you have to start just making quick decisions,
Right.
and then trying to just work with whatever the solution, whatever happens after that. And then I don't know, one of the things I really, really liked about Chino Valley is that we have a very good relationship with our consultants there.
Yes.
So it's something that you probably wouldn't get at other programs. Is as an intern, I had cell phone numbers to all the specialists, and they would actually take phone calls and texts. And
So they return your calls.
they would and take the time to kind of explain to you what their thought process is.
Right.
On the same token, though, they would expect you to have a good handle on what's going on with the patients.
Absolutely.
But they were very upfront, friendly, and I love that. So that extra pressure too, you just kind of have to be on top of things.
Of
too.
course,
Yeah.
of course. What about yourself, Dr. Crouch? As you see the evolution of medicine becoming more and more integrated with physical medicine, Western medicine, Eastern medicine, acupuncture, therapy, all these different other forms of medicine are integrating really now. What do you find is a challenge with having to talk to and to really be accountable for what you have to do, but also to make the other specialists accountable for what they have to do when it comes to patient care?
We've talked many times as being family physicians.
Yes.
It used to be that, you say like, oh, I had to go to my GP or whatever, and it's realizing that they're the gatekeeper to the specialist. But we know that our responsibility is to try to take care of as much that we can within our scope of practice before we start referring out to the consultants.
Right.
And so it's on a daily basis, a patient will come in and say like, doctor, I need an MRI. Like, well, for what?
Right.
I've had these horrible headaches. Well, let's try to find out what's going on with your headaches first.
Exactly.
And you really don't need to go to the to the neurologist
Right,
today.
for
You
that.
don't need the MRI.
Right.
But they've already read on
Absolutely.
on the internet that that's what they need, and so a lot of our time is spent just educating our patients and trying to help them come up with a perspective. So the biggest challenge of someone doing primary care is trying to be up to date on all the things that like you mentioned or alluded to, that are out there, so that way we can get our patients the best care.
Absolutely.
And most of the time we can take care of it ourselves. A lot of people forget how skilled family doctors truly are.
Yes, yes. Now, what are your thoughts also, Dr. Crouch, about what Chino, what that hospital does in the community with respect to activism?
I think that Chino Valley Medical Center is certainly a pillar in the community where people know go there for the best doctors, for the best care.
Yes.
And it starts, as we've talked many times with Dr. Lally, it all trickles down. So to get the best care, that with that personal touch, with the best consultants that Dr. Torres was talking about,
Yes.
people know, and the word is out. If you want to go to the best hospital, you go to Chino Valley Medical Center.
Absolutely.
So to be a part of that is certainly something that we all are very appreciative of.
Of course. What do you think of the challenges of a hospital like Chino Valley Medical Center, Dr. Gonzalez?
I think the biggest challenge is Chino Valley, it's a small community hospital
Yes.
in a small town.
Right.
Now, what does everybody love? Everybody loves the big, brand, shiny new toy.
Many people, yes.
So when they see the big, brand new hospitals coming up and it's this big, gigantic building that looks so nice and shiny and new, well, obviously that has to be the best because it's
Really?
brand new.
Right.
And then they see our small community hospital right across the street from the high school, right next to the post office. Well, that building's been there a while. That can't be that good.
Right.
And I think it's the general challenge of medicine, whether it's educating them on disease, chronic disease, their injury. It's just about education with the general public.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a big deal. What about yourself, Dr. Torres? As you go forward now, what are your plans to really help educate people about the need to be fit and to be healthy and to make diet changes? And how do you deal with that when you have patients that maybe they need to exercise and they don't necessarily want to exercise, or if they give you a lot of excuses about not exercising? What is your game plan and strategy for dealing with patients that are sort of recalcitrant and resistant to actually exercise and being more fit and healthy?
We give them your book.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I sign
Thank
it
you,
right
Dr.
next to where you sign it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Don't start, man. Oh, thanks. Well, my book, I'm glad to hear that one.
We
Thank you.
start doing some poses.
Okay, Art of Fitness.
Usually they ask me to take my shirt back
Okay.
on.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it, man. I got to interview you guys.
You know it was coming.
I knew it was
Little,
coming. So, like I was saying,
I think
what do you do?
I'll be good.
I think a lot of it, people think that to be fit and really they think, hey, I need to join like a 24-hour big gym and I need to be going and like running and doing all these weights and everything. And realistically, it's more just doing something a little more active every single day.
Absolutely.
So whether it's just walking 30 minutes a day, little things, take the stairs, not the elevator, park in the back of the parking lot and walk all the way to the
Absolutely.
front. It's just
Yes.
little things like that.
Yes.
And then if they just start to add up and people start living healthier.
I love the way you said that, because one thing I always tell my patients, not necessarily about exercise in a way, but it's about increasing physical activity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just doing more and not always taking the easy way out. Just walk more. And like you said so well, take the stairs and not the elevator or the escalator. Park away from the shopping area in a well-lit place where you can actually walk more, get more steps in per day. And, of course, to watch your diet, because we are what we eat, we are what we drink, we are what we smoke. So if you're smoking, drinking, and eating things that you shouldn't be, then the body can only reflect that.
Yeah.
It really can.
One of our senior residents, he was one of the chiefs when we came in, he had a great thing that he would tell people that I like. He just said, he would tell all his patients just to never drink a calorie, because people don't realize how much stuff's in the energy drinks and
Absolutely.
the sodas they drink. So if you can at least just cut that out, you're really
done a
kind of
lot.
making some big steps
I
forward.
agree with you. And one other thing too, and you said, and I love that statement that you don't have to go to the gym. I tell my patients all the time is the gym is where your body is. You don't need equipment. Your body weight is more than enough to work out. You just have to have a plan and how to do it safely and effectively. But we have to exercise every day because every day is a gift. So I think we gift ourselves with exercise.
Absolutely.
We gift ourselves with eating fewer potato chips, less ice cream, less pain douce, less high-calorie, sugary drinks full of dye and salt and sodium and sugar. But the key is we have to also live it. So I want to know for you, Dr. Crouch, I mean, you work with these other physicians, and you all are very athletic, you all are very fit. How do you continue this legacy onto your practice now of being fit, now that you'll be working even more? Big challenge.
Personally, staying fit, or
Yes, personally staying fit.
For me, I have my own goals in mind, and
Yes.
so since I want to continue to be a goal-oriented and goal-driven individual,
Yes.
I look at my time to exercise as just my escape from. That's the stress relief. It's like you said, it's that gift you give to yourself.
Absolutely.
And so, I used to go to a gym. I used to do that, and now I thought, well, when you have to change your clothes and grab the car keys and get into your car to drive, you've given yourself a few extra steps to make an excuse not to go.
Absolutely.
So I think the best advice and best way to stick with it
Yes.
is to have the gym at your house.
I
And
agree with
so
that. I
I've got
agree.
my heavy bag hung in the garage. I've got my weights. I've got everything there that I love to do. I've got my jump rope, things that I can do at home. So my cardio, so you're skipping rope, you're banging on the heavy bag, got the weights there. So things are all there at the house. And so when you come into the house and you have to walk past it,
Yes.
that's a pretty good reminder. It's like it's time to break
do
a
it.
sweat. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what about yourself? How do you deal with the patient that's recalcitrant, that gives you a lot of excuses, like they don't want to get their hair wet, they don't want to mess up their nails, they don't want to go to the gym, they don't want to spend the money for the gym?
That's the patient that you just perfectly described is essentially hopeless. They have no hope to get to where they want to be. And so
How do
you
you
have to
give
give
them hope? How do you give them that?
So you have to say, this is easy. These are baby steps, but it's going to take consistency. You kind of have to contract with the patient.
Yes.
And I sit down from the very beginning and say, look, we can crunch your weight right now based on your height. Let's
Yes.
calculate your BMI. To get you to a healthy BMI, right now your BMI is 42. We need to get it closer to 25.
Right.
And you have
Or
to crunch.
less.
You have to crunch the numbers.
Right.
If a patient comes in and it's like, I'd really like to get down to 185. That's not even close to where their ideal body weight is. So you have to literally put down numbers on paper and give them a plan on how to get there. But then you have to give them small, easy increments to get there.
Right.
And
Realistic plans.
Absolutely.
I always tell my
Absolutely.
patient, a pound a week. You can do a pound a week.
Absolutely.
If you lose a pound a week just by cutting out calories.
Yes.
Because a lot of patients confuse fitness with weight loss. Those
it's
are
very
two separate
different.
things.
Yes,
Two
very
separate
different.
things. So we're not talking about fitness. We're talking about weight loss. So we're
Absolutely.
talking about cutting calories,
Right.
a pound a week. And then I hold them accountable. I says, I want to see you back in the office in 3 months.
Absolutely.
That's 12 weeks. I want you to get on the scale, and you're going to be 12 pounds lighter
Absolutely.
in 3 months than you are today.
Yes.
And then when I see you a year from now, you are going to have lost 50 pounds. And then when you
Absolutely.
say it that way, they're like, oh, I can't do that.
It's more doable.
It's more doable. And then when you say, I need you to lose 75 pounds, it's not going to be easy and it's going to take time, so be patient. I don't want them going out, fad diet.
Right,
and
none of that.
I want them to make lifestyle changes that they can do every single day in,
Absolutely.
day out, so that way when I see them 18 months from now, they're going to be at their goal.
Absolutely. One thing that I think is so brilliant about what you said is that it's so important that we remind them to take small, sustainable steps to have long-term maintained goals. It can't be a quick lose 50 pounds in a month because that'll come back with friends and company. And what I tell my patients also is that if you stop drinking soda, we know that if you stop drinking sodas, 1 soda a day, you will gain 16 pounds a year. So if you just stop doing that, I also remind them that you want to safely lose no more than 2 pounds per week. All the research supports that. And the other thing I remind them is that if you exercise while you're watching television, we know that most Americans, the average, watch 3 to 5 hours of television a day. How they do it, I truly don't know. However, there are 8 minutes of commercials for every half hour of television. So in 16 minutes for 4 hours, you have 64 minutes of exercise. If you just exercise during the commercials, you've done a lot, a lot. So I think it's not, all of us as physicians, we know that cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of men and women in America. So with that said, how do we go about making our patients know that we love and appreciate them? We want them to be fit. We want them to be healthy without any judgment. What about yourself, Dr. Gonzalez? How do you transmit that to your patients, that you want to take care of them without giving them a sense that you're judging them?
Well, I always let them know that this isn't a judgment, and this is
Yes.
something that we're going to work together.
Right.
I love giving them a plan that they can be excited about. As you
Right.
said, commercials. Commercials are the perfect thing. What's your favorite TV show?
Yes.
I hope it's something that has commercials, and I challenge them.
Absolutely.
During the commercial, do push-ups
Absolutely.
the whole time.
Absolutely.
If you can't do push-ups, then just hold the position until it's over.
Absolutely.
Next commercial, do squats.
Absolutely.
And then the most important thing is you have to follow up.
Yes.
Because when they come in, like Dr. Sharps, 4 weeks later, and they've lost 4 pounds.
Right.
You
Right.
get excited for them.
Absolutely.
Because you guys did it together.
Right.
You know that you helped them and they helped themselves.
Absolutely. It's so true. Now, as you guys grow and leave for your own practices, I'd like to hear each of you tell me what are the legacies that you like to leave behind as physicians? Starting with you, Dr. Torres.
I think just the community service, just still being heavily involved in whatever community I ended up in.
Yes.
We've been working with a lot of high schools lately in the area, especially this last year.
Yes.
And wherever I end up, just still being able to participate and do something like that. Just have to use my extra time to kind of help in the local community. That's kind of something I'd much really like to continue to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Dr. Crouch?
As far as a legacy, my ambitions are low. I think that if my patients can say of me that I listened to them and they knew that I cared,
Yes.
then that's enough for me.
Got it.
Because so many patients come to you in the worst condition.
Yes.
Whether what diagnosis has changed their life that day, if they walked away thinking I didn't care about that, or I didn't listen, or I didn't validate their feelings, then I failed.
Yes.
So
What is the strategy that you use when you're dealing with a patient who thinks that things are hopeless, who really feels unloved, who really feels disenfranchised? What do you do to make that paradigmatic shift where they can feel that you love them, you appreciate them, that you will give them compassion, that you will give them respect? What do you do?
like I said, just you have to listen. Once
Yes.
you listen and acknowledge them as a person and have that connection,
Yes,
the rest is easy.
I believe that. I believe that. Yourself, Dr. Gonzalez?
My legacy, well, it goes back to what started me here.
Besides Max Stone. That's
Besides
one.
Max Stone.
And the baby to be.
I want someone to think of me as their hero.
Yes. Yes.
I want someone to say, Dr. Gonzalez, that guy is my superhero.
Right.
Ultimately, I definitely just want people to remember my name as that guy was a good doctor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, in medicine, with the ever-evolving concept of what medicine is or what doctors are, and so often many insurance companies feel like a doctor shouldn't spend more than 2.7 minutes with the patient. So I think for us, it's so important as community leaders to be involved, to let people know that, yes, we really care for them. 2, we have the knowledge to treat them. And 3, whoever they are, we will respect them. No matter their race, their creed, their sex, their sexuality, their gender identity, we don't care about that. We just want to love you and help you and get you to feel well, and more importantly, get you to walk out here knowing that when you come back, we have even more love to give you, more to give. It's about that, I believe.
Especially in today's age and especially right now.
Especially.
We need more love.
We really do. We really do. I like to know too, and this is, I think, a difficult question. We have to touch upon it. Is, with the tremendous tragedy in Orlando, what are your thoughts about that? Besides the devastation, what are your thoughts about gun control in America? What are your thoughts about how the people in the lesbian, gay, transgender, Q community are treated? I'd like to hear each of you give me your thoughts about that.
Oh man, that is such a hard question to
Yes.
ask. Not because of my personal feelings. It's when people try to make everything a black and white issue.
And it's never
Gun control,
Right.
not a black and white issue.
Not.
Yes. Okay, so I like to play devil's advocate with
Of course.
everything.
Of course.
We need to put more guns in good people's hands, and to defend against the good people, the bad people with guns. How many people knew that they were bad people until they did something bad?
True. It's a true statement. True statement.
You know, there's no easy answer. There's not going to be a completely right answer for
everybody.
anything or everybody.
Absolutely.
Everybody's going to be
Different.
Everybody has their own opinion, which also makes this country great. Everybody's
Absolutely.
entitled to their own opinion.
Absolutely. And it should be respected.
But at some point, I think the best thing we can do is, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't
Yes.
matter. We all need to come together and find middle ground.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Because there has to be some way that everybody can feel safe,
I agree.
whether that's, having your own weapon, but making sure that you go through strict regulations to be able to get that weapon.
Absolutely.
I don't have the answer.
Right, right.
I wish I did, because then I'd be calling everybody and saying
Absolutely.
this is the answer.
Right. I think it's evolving.
But
Constantly evolving.
like I said, it's a very gray issue that everybody needs to come together and find middle ground.
Absolutely.
As far as the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community,
Right.
I believe that what everybody ultimately has to come across is, ultimately we are still a human race,
Absolutely.
and come together as a human race.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you there. What about yourself, Dr. Torres?
Yeah, the gun control issue, again, I'm kind of with him. I have no real answer for it. I know that the guns that were used recently were legally obtained, so I mean, it really kind of muddies the waters a lot.
Yes.
Personally, from a military background with my family, my grandpa always hunted a lot, dad hunts. We have a lot of guns. I personally own firearms as well.
Yes.
And I don't know what the right answer is to that, but I mean, it's definitely something that needs to be discussed and talked about.
Absolutely.
As far as the LGBT community goes, they're people.
Period.
People that love other people.
Right.
I have no problem with that community at all, and I
Absolutely.
hope they get treated better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yourself, Dr. Crouch.
I think that to focus purely on guns is kind of missing the point. When there was a group of motivated individuals who brought down planes armed with box cutters, they didn't have guns, and so what changed, or what was instilled, what was driving them?
Right.
And I think that when you step back, the basic unit of society is the family. And if there are strong and intact families that can see trouble, they should be the ones kind of reining those folks in.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of what we see, horrible mass shootings,
Yes.
the mental illness, as primary doctors, we are the ones supposed to pick up on that as well.
Yeah, you're
So-
right at the gate.
Yeah, we are. And so, I mean, that's a huge topic,
Right.
and to try to even scratch the surface today, certainly difficult to do.
Very
but,
much so.
Um,
Very much so.
yeah.
Well, I have to thank all of you for being here today. I think that when it comes to so many things that are happening here in the world, especially here in the United States, we do have to keep our hearts open, our minds open, and more importantly, our prayers going up, because it's amazing to me how one day can change a life like that. I mean, you guys have children, Dr. Crouch and Dr. Gonzalez. Imagine not having your son or daughter come back home. Imagine the craziness of that.
I don't
You
want
can't
to.
even fathom that. You can't even fathom it. So I'm hoping that we as a community can be more loving, more caring, more compassionate, and that as physicians we can go forth and really make a change and have a paradigmatic shift in how people think about other people, meaning that why not just love more? It's so easy. Why not care about people more? Why not stop bullying? Why not be an advocate for change and an advocate for making a difference?
Just go back to the golden rule.
We talked about it this morning. Absolutely. If that's not the most simple principle, I don't know what it is. I treat you equal the way I want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Not difficult. So we're really fortunate today to have the great Dr. Crouch, the amazing Dr. Torres, and the phenomenal Dr. Gonzalez here with us today from Chino Valley Medical Center, the proteges of the phenomenal, of course, Dr. James Lally, whom we truly love and appreciate because he's a man on a mission of change. And more importantly, Dr. Lally epitomizes compassion and community service. I really appreciate him because it reminds me, Levi Harrison, to be a better doctor and more importantly, to be a more kind and more serving human being. So I want to thank you for that, Dr. Lally. And thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Thank you, Dr. Torres.
Levi.
Thank you, Dr. Crouch. I wish you all great success on your paths to greater victory. And congratulations on the new baby, Dr. Gonzalez, coming soon. And congratulations on your babies to come, Dr. Crouch, and your babies to come, Dr. Torres. This is Dr. Levi. We had a great show today. Thank you. I'm grateful for Caitlin and Janet and for the amazing Jarvis. This is Dr. Levi. Have a great day, everybody. Bye. Remember, one quick thing here. My engineer is going to kill me here. Remember, be kind to the veterans. Those men and women are the great heroes of America. We have our sustained freedoms because of them. And be kind to children, the elderly, and to your pets because they have no voice. This is Dr. Levi. Bye.